Rumors are swirling about the future of the Bears organization as big changes loom. Meanwhile, the team has to contend with all three coordinators potentially missing Monday night's game against the Minnesota Vikings due to COVID. And joining us as always is James Big Cat Williams, former offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears from 1991 to 2002. Big Cat, I'm remote, so I can't see you, but it's always great to have you. I want to start with, there's a couple reports this week that the Bears were talking to a former Bear, a former teammate of yours, Trace Armstrong, about potentially coming in and being an executive with the team. What are your thoughts on that?
I heard the rumors. I also heard the statement that Trace put out there as far as, it wasn't true. But I think that's a direction that they need to go. I mean, even if it's not Trace, you have enough players that have played for the Bears that are intelligent enough, that know football, that are still involved in, football in some sort of way that could help the organization out. Trace was young when I got here, and, he was one of the guys that kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. And I think he's the reason why I got moved to offense. At least that's what he'll tell you, and Steve McMichaels will tell you. But, he knows the game. He's a representative right now of actually Matt Nagy as far as being an agent. So, he would be a good choice, but it wasn't something that he said that he's talked to the organization about.
And there was this really in-depth article in the Tribune this week about what you just mentioned, that there are all these Bear alumni that have had great success either in coaching or management, and it doesn't seem like the Bears consult these alumni very much. Is that a weak spot here for the organization?
I think so. I think when you think about the major organizations, they're trying to do anything possible to turn their franchise into a team that can win for multiple years. You don't want just the one Super Bowl and done or a couple playoffs appearances. You want to be that team that can sustain winning for a long period of time. And when you look at the organizations that are able to do that, these are organizations that, their offensive coordinators, their defensive coordinators, their quarterback coaches are people that are wanted around the league to be head coaches, to move up in position. And when you're talking about organizations like that, let's just say New England, they're able to replace those people with other good people. And, that's just kind of what they do. So you'd like the Chicago Bears to put themselves in a situation where, people are coming in trying to steal all of their coordinators to put them in head coaching jobs because they are that good.
And it's just the same carousel every 4 to 5 years, hire, fire coaches and general managers, and they just can't get any consistency. One spot that they hope there's consistency with now is at the quarterback with Justin Fields, but against Green Bay, he was roughed up a lot, as he's been roughed up in every game. How do the Bears keep him upright against Minnesota on Monday?
Well, I think, first of all, you don't come out and you don't start the game in empty sets. The line has struggled a little bit, and not all their fault. He holds on to the ball a little long at times, but these are things that and these are things that you can kind of work around. Can you bring an extra tight end? You got 5 tight ends on your roster. Let's use some of those guys to block and then get them out late into routes. The backs chipping, play action, being able to run the ball. They only ran the ball 2 times as far as handoffs in the second half of that Green Bay game. And when you're built like the Bears are built and you're not really sure what your identity is, you got to take as much pressure off of that offensive line and that quarterback as you can.
And the quarterback clearly has loads of talent, but is there any threat that all of this futility is getting to his head and it's going to affect his development?
I think there's always a threat of that, especially when you're talking about a guy that has come out of college. He's used to winning. All he's done is won. And, now he's going through a period where he's just not sure what's going on. The coaching staff, the play on the field, the plays that are designed, it doesn't really seem to be formatted around him. So you have to hope that they bring in somebody that can make him feel comfortable. But I think that when you listen to Justin Fields talk, you're listening to a guy that is very confident in himself, that has the ability to bounce back like after the Cleveland game. You know, we saw him bounce back. These are traits that you want in your quarterback.
Right. He seems mentally tough. On the other side of the ball, the defense has to contend with Dalvin Cook, the running back. What do you make of this matchup on defense on Monday?
Well, it's going to be interesting. You're talking about a team that wants to physically push the ball down your throat. And Minnesota has the ability to do that. Now, you know, with COVID and players out for injuries, they're going to be just as depleted as the Bears are going to be. So I think the Bears have to be able to run the ball early to open up some of those things in the secondary. And if the Bears can do that and defensively, they can put some pressure on Minnesota to force them to stop running the ball, then we're talking about, you know, them possibly being able to squeak one out. So I'm going to go 21-20. I'm going to go Bears this week. I got my fingers crossed, man. I think they can pull one off.
All right, that'll be a nail biter. And our thanks as always to James Big Cat Williams. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Paris.